She was just a nurse heading home after a long shift. But when she saw a veteran being attacked, she didn't hesitate. She stepped in. Once dead, blood spilled, then silence. 24 hours later, the White House called. The president wanted to meet her, not because of her wounds, but because of her courage. Denise Parker thought it was just another walk home from the hospital. She had just wrapped a grueling 12-hour shift at St. Jude's and was ready to collapse. But that quiet walk turned into the night that would change her life forever. Halfway home, under a broken streetlight, she saw them 3 men surrounding someone slumped on a bench. At first glance, it looked like a scuffle. But then she saw the truth. They were attacking an older man. One shoved him down, another kicked, the third spat and screamed. The man didn't fight back. He just curled up, arms over his head, helpless. Denise didn't even think. She ran toward them, shouting, "Leave him alone!" The tallest thug turned and sneered, "Keep walking, lady." But she didn't. "He's done nothing to you. Walk away." The twitchy one, nervous, wild-eyed, moved fast, too fast, a flash of metal, a knife. Before Denise could react, he lunged. The blade sank deep into her stomach. She gasped, stumbled back, and collapsed to the pavement, blood soaking into her scrubs. The attackers ran. Chaos erupted. Screams, footsteps, 911 calls. By the time paramedics arrived, Denise was fading. Her vision blurred, her breathing slowed. The last voice she heard before blacking out was familiar. Eric, a paramedic from her own hospital, trembling as he loaded her onto a stretcher. "She's one of ours," someone whispered as she arrived back at St. Jude's. Not as a nurse, but as a patient fighting for her life. Her trauma team scrambled. Friends, co-workers, mentors, now drenched in her blood. They worked with everything they had. She flatlined. For a moment, she was gone. But Denise Parker had never been the quitting type. Her heart stuttered, then beat again. She wasn't conscious, but inside that haze of near death, her soul remembered. The patients she'd helped, the tears she'd wiped, the hands she'd held. Those memories, that purpose, kept her tethered to life. When she finally woke, 24 hours later, her room was filled with flowers. Her friend Rachel sat beside her, whispering, "Welcome back." Her first question, the man I helped, did he make it? Rachel smiled. "Yes, you saved him." But who he was? That part hadn't been revealed. Yet. An hour later, a man in a black suit entered her room. He wasn't a doctor. He wasn't press. He was presidential. Literally. He handed her an envelope with the seal of the President of the United States. Inside was a letter that changed everything. "You didn't just save a man," it read. "You saved a patriot, a hero, a dear friend of mine. Your courage reminds this nation what we stand for. Please accept this invitation to the White House." Denise's heart pounded. The man she had saved was Colonel Thomas Keene, a decorated Marine, 3 tours overseas, a Purple Heart recipient, and a close personal friend of the president. Just days later, Denise stood in the Rose Garden, face to face with the commander-in-chief. "Denise Parker is not a soldier," he said. "She is a citizen who ran toward danger and in doing so saved one of our nation's finest." Then came the shock. Today, we name her the new head nurse of the White House Medical Unit. The crowd gasped. She will receive a new vehicle, a new home, and our eternal gratitude. Denise was overwhelmed, her hands trembling as she accepted the badge. But the honor wasn't what defined her. It was what came next. She returned to quiet service. She declined interviews and fame. Instead, she mentored young nurses, helped veterans, gave back silently. On the anniversary of the attack, she didn't host a press event. She baked a peach pie from her mother's recipe and delivered it to a nearby shelter. That was Denise. In her quiet White House office, beneath a quote that read, "Do what's needed, do it with grace," she served every day with dignity. She walked those marble halls like she once walked hospital corridors, not with arrogance, but calm, collected confidence. She had been stabbed, nearly died, and risen again, not for glory, but for a stranger in need. And in doing so, she reminded the world, you don't have to wear a uniform to be a hero. You just have to show up and never back down.